Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of that Millwall podcast. It's a pre-recorded show, so you haven't missed it on YouTube or whatever. So, yeah, it's fine. It's no problem. We've got a new face for you today. We've got the same old homeless-looking trampy one to my left or my right, whichever way you're looking at it. The one and only Omer, slightly tanned from his visit back from Spain. Good evening, afternoon, whichever way you want to do. Hello, Omer. You all right, fella?
Hello, mate. I'm all right, thank you. I contemplated doing my hair. You wouldn't know what that's like, but I thought about doing my hair, mate. But yeah, I thought I'd come on as I was today, mate. So
there's two baldies, mate. So be careful, all right? Do you know what I mean? There's two baldies, so be careful. So yeah, don't start. So yeah, we're also joined by a new face, and hopefully, possibly, will have come on a few more times. We are doing a "Who Are You" with Matt, and we saw him at the. I don't know, was it an under-21s game or a Millwall 11 game?
Millwall 11s, yeah.
Yeah, so we had a conversation at there and obviously said we'd get him on. You probably heard his dulcet tones on the Godfather's podcast, or the Podfather. That's what his name is, isn't it, on Nick's show. But yeah, welcome to the show, Matt. Hope you're doing all right.
Yep, evening chaps, evening everyone. Pleasure to be here. I did do my hair, funny enough. I did have a bit of a shave, but I'll...
Those of you listening on a podcast, you'd have to come over to him, and he's probably not going to pan the camera down. But it does look as if he's either just stopped or he's auditioning for Aussie Rules football tournament. So, yeah.
I just come out of the gym, to be fair, and it was so hot. Right. The Aussie Rules shirt was the only thing I had on.
It is an Aussie Rules shirt as well, is it? Oh, no, right.
Yeah, it's a.
I just saw it. That's what.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what it's done. So then we're going to do a couple of topics tonight. You've got a couple of shows from us coming out this week, and obviously the live on Friday. But basically, we're going to have a discussion around the Sky new deal, which obviously is kicking in next year. Run through some bits and pieces with that, and obviously. Have a little bit of debate between us, and hopefully you guys will carry it on afterwards. Get involved in the comments section, and it'll be great to hear your views on it. We're going to get a feedback on Spain, one of two this week. One with a very special guest later on in the week, but we've got Omer, who was in Spain, and he's going to tell us all about tapas and sangria and cheap lager and everything else. And then we'll have a bit of a discussion on the youth, purely because obviously Matt likes watching the youth players. Be careful how I say that. So does Omer. So we're going to look at focusing a bit more on the youth this season. So we'll go from. I think we'll go from there. Right, we will be back literally straight after the intro. Right then, here we go. I know that show says Friday night, but hey ho, we've got new intros coming very soon. But yeah, we're not going to spoil it yet. So then, the new deal is 935 million for the rights to broadcast a minimum of 328 matches per season, which is a huge amount of games to a degree. It's from season 2024 to 2029, even though other places say it's pretty much 2025, I think, is when ITV, I think you raised a minute ago, comes in. It's a record-breaking deal. I think Championship clubs looking at getting about 2 to 3 million. There was a Price of Football show what came out this week with an interview with the Oxford United CEO, and there was a few little bits what went into that, where he spoke about what it is to the clubs and all that lot. But I just really want to break it down and look at it, go through each one. So first up, obviously you've got 328 games. It's going to be a lot of football being played, and that's not all going to go on a Saturday. On paper, it sounds great. More games on TV, better exposure for club, potential, commercial revenue, everything else. Bad side for fans. Omer, you pretty much go every away game. I don't know if you go away as well, Matt, but I mean, am I right in thinking that's going to be more costs potentially from a weekend game to a midweek game? Then you've got obviously holidays you've got to take, booking, train fares, and if you book trains in advance and they do change them last minute for whatever reason, you don't really. Do you get a full refund, or do they still charge you a tenner to move it and everything else?
I think, yeah, I mean, my initial thoughts are obviously, you're right, to try and be positive about it. It's more limelight on the EFL. That's how they're trying to sell it, and more exposure, all these clubs on the telly as such. But no, I think the only caveat I'll say is, and the only thing I'll give a positive to is they are giving ample notice. In the past, it used to be, up to a month before the game, Mickey? Sometimes even 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You'll know better than me on that one.
3 weeks, I think it was, or 4 weeks it was.
But it used to be always a Friday night game, a Saturday 5:30, if I'm not mistaken, or Saturday 12:30. They used to change the slots around with the Premier League. But if I'm not mistaken, from what I've read as well, I think it's 6 games every weekend in the Championship that'll be on TV, which means 6 games not at 3 p.m. And
yes,
that's significant, because then that is a case of you've got a 50% chance of your game not being played at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Obviously, we've seen this week the Burnley game was moved. I think it was. You've got a Sunday. That's the Sunday game, isn't it? The Burnley at home. You've got obviously we've already got a whole at 12:30 in a few weeks' time when the season gets underway. We've got Watford at 12:30, first game of the season. My instinct as a fan when I see all that stuff is it's quite frustrating. Obviously, like you say, I do try to get to most of the games, home and away.
The breakdown is, through the regular season, will include 46 rounds of league matches taking place across 33 weekends. There's going to be 9 midweek games, so between the clubs as such, and obviously 4 bank holidays in the Championship. Every Championship club will be featured on Sky at least 24 times.
Ridiculous. Well, that means 24 times we're not kicking off at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, right? And
no, it doesn't. Well, yes, it does. Yeah,
it does, because it's guaranteed. I mean, obviously
that's half. That's half, pretty much half. I mean, Matt, what's your views on that? I mean, that's literally half our games next season. And actually, to be fair, it hasn't been sold like that. But actually, now we look at the numbers and we go to it. That's pretty much half our games will not be on a Saturday at
3 p.m.
At 3 p.m. because of Section 48.
Yeah, I mean,
which is, those who don't know, that's a TV blackout.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of money being dished out to the Championship, and there's always going to be. I always feel like there was always going to be sort of like some kind of caveat to all this money coming our way. To have 24 games not at 3 o'clock, I mean, that really. There's a lot of parents out there, and I do go to away games. I'll try and get to about 10 away games a season. I've got a regular with Stoke because of friends. I've got Stoke away that I'm always going to.
Well, Stoke now is 12:30.
Yeah, but I'm full that'll still be a go-to game because, like I say, just because of friends up there. But you've got to literally plan your day ahead a lot different now than you would have done. I think, yes, it's nice to see the money come in, and yes, they're going to change it. But I do really think the fan experience going to football now has changed, even like 3 years ago. I agree with Omar. It's great that they've given us plenty of notice. I mean, games up until Christmas now have all been confirmed. I mean, I remember, was it 2 seasons ago, Blackpool away moved to a Friday night, and funny enough, that was on a personal note, it was my birthday weekend, and I was planning Blackpool away on a Saturday, moved to Friday, can't go. But they left it last minute, like sort of 6 or 7 weeks prior to that. So to give us ample notice is better. But what gets me, Mick, is the fact that I've looked at those first round of 12. It's the 12. It's, for me, it's the 12:30. Would have not been an opportunity because there's some games that are 12:30 that are kicking off, where teams are like us. We're actually travelling the most in the up until Christmas on the 12:30 kickoff time. I've showed you that sort of like bar graph that I found, or a stat.
Mm.
There's I think there's a lot like Borough have got to go somewhere ridiculous, and it's the 200-mile round trip. QPR have got to go away. My question is, if they want to bring the 12:30 kickoff in, which is fine, could they not have a bit of common sense to say, well, let's go with the nearest top 3 nearest clubs that have got to travel and move them to 12:30 so that it doesn't impact people's journey times to and from the grounds?
Yeah, and also, I mean, to me, this could have been sold a lot better by, looking at subsidised television, or not television, subsidised travel. Looked at brought in maybe, like the Premier 30, plenty 30 and go, because it's going to affect revenue. I mean, I know most clubs don't necessarily get the away money, but I mean, there's loads of reports which show, potentially that it will go down. And I believe strongly that there's a conspiracy as such to get rid of Section 48, that they want that 3 p.m. Blackout gone, so that they can then suddenly do everything at 3 p.m. So literally Sky can then come back. That's, I think, their gamble, is that they're hoping over the next couple of years they can get rid of that, and then literally the Premier League, the Championship, everything they've got will be at 3 o'clock. And then you just go on to a massive match database as such on your screen, and you can pick whatever game you want on multi-screens. That's, I think, there. But I mean, so you're looking at games ideally will be Tuesday or Wednesday, and occasionally there may be matches on Monday or Thursdays, but that's pretty much going to be, the less common. You're looking, obviously, that there's going to be Friday night games, Saturday and Sunday, and then Saturday's going to be 12:30, and then obviously 5:30. Or 5 o'clock when it will come on, and then obviously Sunday they've got pretty much free reign. Sunday they can do 12:30, 3 o'clock, 5, 4. So I mean, Sunday will be the one where we go. I mean, we've got Sunday, obviously, the Burnley game is on Sunday, so that's, to me, I think it's all about the clubs, nothing about the fans.
I think,
as always.
I think the big thing for me, Mick, is like, it changes the whole match day experience. Like when you think like Hull away 12:30 is like you have to get on a train at 7:30 in the morning to even make sure you're definitely there in time. Like there's that sort of element to it. And to me on a match day, it's like you want to aim to get there for about 11 or 12, go to a local pub, get ready for the 3 o'clock kickoff. It just shifts and changes things like from a personal point of view. And it is purely about the pound note, of course it is. But I think also what will be a downside, and we'll see a second half of the season, hypothetically, if we're successful, there'll be more demand to put Millwall on the TV, which means you're moving away from even more 3 o'clock kickoffs, because teams that will be successful, teams they want to have on the box, because they want to put up good teams. Or we had it last season or the season before last when we started doing well and was going for that playoff push. We had a lot of games moved. It will be the same thing in that second half season. If your team's doing well, you'll do lucky to get probably 5 or 6 3 o'clock kickoffs out of the last 20 games, because they'll have their rights. They'll have their say, right, we want that team to be on telly because it's a promotion push. They want to highlight that. So it is really double-edged, but the benefit to the club, as we've said, is that revenue comes in, spend more money, but then all your competitors are getting the same amount of money. So is that actually a real benefit?
Well, you say that. I mean, they are and they're not. I mean, realistically, you're looking at, obviously, you've got the clubs coming down with parachute payments. So they're going to have an instant bit of parachute payments and revenue, etc., etc. Then, you've got some of the Championship. But again, like you said, if you're not doing necessarily well, you don't get the thing. A question what I need to find out, and I will find out, is that clubs used to, part of the old TV package, you would get a lump money, but if you were the team hosting the game on telly, you got an extra, I think you got about 100 grand. And then the rival got like 20 or 30. So I don't know whether or not that's still there. Obviously, we don't know what the deal is with the Carabao Cup, with the bonuses there. Plus, you've got, obviously, FA Cup. So yeah, I get that there's money, but I mean, for instance, you, and I'm not going to out you here, Omer, but you know, with holidays and everything else, if a game you wanted to go see suddenly moves from Saturday to Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever, a midweek game, you're not necessarily going to be able to get the time off to go out there. You're not going to get the time off to go to Stoke on a Wednesday night, are you? You know, maybe local, but anywhere where it's going to be more than a 2-3 hour journey out, you're not really going to be able to make it. So then the person who's losing out is you and the club, because you're going to sit at home and watch it rather than watch it rather than watch it live. And then also, if you're a parent, if you take your kids to football, like there's a lot of fans online, Steve and other people, where they take their kids, and Danny and, you know, all of that, where they take their kids to football. You're not going to do that now on a Saturday. If it's a midweek, you're not going to keep them out of school and everything else, because what's the point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think also, like as Matt said earlier, his situation is the same. So, but I doubt it'll be moved from a Saturday to Wednesday, surely. But it could be a Thursday or Friday, like you said. That would be a killer. And listen, by hook or by crook, I'm that kind of fan. I'll find my way. But you're right; it is going to add more barriers to entry for fans to go and take their kids, I suppose.
Can you imagine Middlesbrough, 8 p.m. Friday night? How the fuck are you getting home? There ain't going to be a train home.
You're staying over, aren't you? You're
exactly. Yeah,
it's true. It's true.
You know, so I mean, I get the money, but I think there should have been better. There should have been a deal between clubs for cheaper away tickets. And again, I think that, you know, this year Millwall should do something with Leeds. You know, that deal should be made public. It's definitely a question I will be asking at the fans forum this week. Are we going to reciprocate, and what are the concerns? Because we were told what they were last year, and obviously I'd like to know what they are. And if we are going to refuse it, is it because it's more beneficial, you know, to the club not to accept it, then obviously reciprocate if the club's not making money out of it? That's because I think Leeds wanted to reduce the tickets down to like 30 quid or something. I think the tickets are about 36 quid for the away game anyway, but 45 for us. So yeah, but I don't know. I think midweek games are going to get lower attendance. You're not necessarily going to get the people.
Well, the
Do you
proof's
agree,
in the pudding.
disagree?
Sorry, chaps. The proof's in the pudding, like especially last season and the previous seasons where we had the red button on Sky. You know, there have been times where I've come late home from work and I can't get to the den for a Tuesday night, but it's on the red button, and you just see it. Yes, it's one camera and one commentator, but you can just see the amount of blue seats there are at the den on a midweek game.
Yeah.
So, you know, is it going to make any changes? No. You know, I don't think we're at a situation where well, not just us, but probably about 50% of the clubs in the Championship are where if you don't go, they'll sell your ticket to someone else, i.e. like Johnny, like the foreigners or overseas fans that come over. We're not at that level. Yes, we have fans that come over from overseas for like a weekend to watch a game of football, but we're not like a Tottenham or an Arsenal or Chelsea where if you don't go, they'll resell your ticket and someone else will sit in there. We're not like that. Plymouth are not like that. Derby are not like that. Oxford are not like that. So if they don't go, they're having empty seats. So I think it's, yes, the money's being pumped in, and the money probably helped get the likes of Tanganga, for example. But it's, I think the true fans like us here are really going to see the difference in terms of, can we go to this game? And I say my kids go to school, like I say, I've got the kids as well as secondary school. Can they get to a Wednesday night? I really want to try, but I can't. And and you say that like about these 12:30 away games. You're right, Omer. I mean, think about the local pubs when we go away games. Like they always tell you which respected pub to go to, the away pubs. They're going to lose out because we're not going to be drinking as much as. I do like a pint. I don't fancy one at 10 o'clock in the morning, if I'm brutally honest with you. But and we certainly won't be able to get a beer after the game because we'll be ferried out of the towns and the cities that we're playing. So, even the hospitality trade around those clubs are going to get impact as well.
Definitely. I think, Mickey, you're right about the blackout, 3 o'clock. I do feel that's coming as well. I think you said to me a few times before, supply the seat, but I can see a world where it is like they tried to do it during lockdown, didn't they? As they started to go back, charging pay-per-view and stuff like that to watch. I think it was Sheffield United versus Burnley at one point. People were saying everyone kicks up a fuss, and they only sold like 50 subscriptions. But I can see it. I can see Sky getting their teeth into that and charging people to watch it. But the clubs that will get hit the most if they do filter it down the leagues, like League Two, where you get 3,000 fans a game, you're gonna, deter from fans going to watch their club as well. And I think that's why them clubs were so against the idea of iFollow, because I know iFollow was initially brought in as an abroad package, but with the old VPN and Fire Stick shenanigans that goes on nowadays, a lot of clubs lose out on their fans turning up to a lot of games. It's definitely a thing.
Omer, I think there's one 12:30 kickoff where Chesterfield are going to Gillingham. You fancy doing that trip as a Chesterfield fan? Exactly.
That's the thing. I'm just trying to find. They put something out, and I want to see if this ties up with the 12:30 games. But yeah, carry on. I will come back to you in a sec. So, yeah.
Sorry, chaps. Can I ask a question? Would an option been a 2:00 kickoff to put it on TV?
No, you can't do it.
Can't overlap.
Because it overlaps the free.
Yeah. I think it's
2:45
to 4:45, isn't it? Yeah.
5:15. It's 2:45 to 5:15. They can't show any TV. They can't show any football on the TV. Is the rules basically?
12:30 is practically the earliest.
But that's only in the UK. Yeah. Sky can show all their games at 3:00 abroad. Not a problem at all. So there's no issues there at all. It's just literally the UK where it is. I did see. I'm trying to find it now, but I did see somewhere I think it was on the Millwall website at some point, but I can't fucking find it now. Of all the ratings for categories.
Yeah, you sent that a while ago, I think. But you reckon that all the Category A games or one games will be the ones that are on telly? Who knows? I don't know. But they're obviously the higher demand games anyway. But I think, listen, it's good.
Oxford, I can understand being moved to a midweek or 12:30 because Oxford, as much as people will probably laugh and listen to this, but Oxford have got a little firm, a group of lads there who want to cause trouble. And those who've, last time we had it will know about it. But they, certain games I can understand being a risk, so they go, right, we move that. But don't get me wrong, these decisions are not purely Sky.
Do you think?
100%. The police will have the police. So when these fixtures come out, they will come out pretty much. I know you say that the teams have got it and all this. I understand what you're saying there, but these fixtures will be done as soon as they know what teams are looking to be in the Championship next season. They're then done. They're fed to the clubs. Make sure that there's nothing whatsoever. Make sure that they get the home games they want, where they're probably penciling, and then the police, and then the safety committees, and everything else. And then the police look at it and go, "Yeah, we're not having Leeds on a Friday night. We'll have Leeds on either on a Saturday, or we look at doing Leeds away on a midweek, and we do Plymouth away because we've had trouble there before. Oxford will fall into that. Pompey will probably fall into that, and then they will go, and then it will be back and forth. And the EFL going, no, you can't have that. And then what they've probably done is gone, I'll tell you what we do this year. Right, Sky, if you take some of these 12:30s, but these are the games you're going to take, we will put these at 3:00, but we know that you're going to change them. And it'll be high risk. Oxford, Pompey, people like that, that's when they're changing.
Oxford high risk just makes me laugh. But you're right. I remember the JPT game when it went over there. So, but you're right. But yeah, look, listen, we'll probably talk about it for hours the TV deal. But listen, overall, I wasn't impressed when I saw the fixtures move. But it's going to be plenty more where they came from as well. My instinct as a fan is not great, but I'll still find a way to get to them. It does kill it a bit. It's just a taste of what it's like in the Premier League, I suppose, and that's also what you see when you watch Premier League games. The atmosphere suffer, I feel like, sometimes when you watch these games because they're on at silly o'clock and they're on at times where fans haven't had the whole match day buzz, and it's just, I don't know. I think the Burnley game was at 1:30 on a Sunday, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
What, Burnley?
Yeah. Is it not 1:30?
No, it's 3:00 on a Sunday.
3:00 on a Sunday. Okay, 3:00 on a Sunday. Listen, it's just like if you're a Burnley fan, if you travel down, like you got work next day and all that sort of stuff that comes into it. I don't know, it kills it a bit for me as a fan. But listen, if the football's good and we're winning games, I won't really care, to be honest. I don't think, but it's just initial thoughts are it's not great, but there you go.
That's the problem, isn't it? Though? So yeah, the other one as well was another one for the fans forum on Friday. Is this new ticketing service?
What's wrong with it?
It's well, one, it's Ticketmaster, fucking scary. But have you seen the pricing that you get now to use the internet to book your ticket fee? And then
No.
obviously, yeah, there's a booking fee now for using the internet. And no, yeah, but it wasn't. It was only £1 or so, wasn't it? And
Yeah,
then you had to post or pick it up. Where you never got the fee, did you?
Well, where's it now then?
It's £2 to just book a ticket online, and then you've got the delivery charges as well. So
Come
yeah,
on,
it's literally
let's quit talking about shitty stuff anyway.
Oh, there you go. I told you. Look, category
And you're running the
category
risk
A
of getting that
matches.
ticket on time.
Yeah. Here you go. Look, category A matches: Watford, Luton, Leeds, Sunderland, Oxford, QPR, West Brom, Portsmouth, Norwich, Swansea. And so far, how many of those have moved?
A few of them, right? There you go.
Watford, Luton, Oxford.
Yeah.
Sunderland
There's a
will.
few. Definitely.
Burnley so far moved into category B. So yeah, well, category C we've only got Preston, Plymouth, Blackburn, and Hull. So yeah,
But they put Plymouth on a Tuesday night anyway, even though if it's a Cat C.
Wednesday night.
Or Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah,
There you
Wednesday. Yeah. All fun and games. So then, come on in, Omar. Tell us all about Mercia.
Mercia, no, mate.
Was it nice and hot?
It was nice and hot, 35 degrees most days. I went from Thursday to Sunday. It was brilliant. I loved it, honestly. I think the trip in itself, I had a great time. I'll shout out Dean because he's listening to the podcast. So there you go, Dean. There's your shout out, mate. But yeah, no, it was top, mate. Friday also was the game day, 10:30 kickoff. Bit of a shitter, like obviously, but in a weird way, you managed to get the game in and then get the rest of your day afterwards. But when we got there, obviously Neil Harris was on the gate, greeted everyone for an hour solid before kickoff, which I thought was a brilliant touch. You know, he was there to shake everyone's hand, say thanks for coming. He said to us, "Are you guys local?" We're like, no, we travelled over. He's like, "Fuck me, fair play." And that was a little thing that I thought was a nice gesture from him. Don't know if the club put him up to it. I doubt it. I think he was probably more on his own back. But you know, it kind of that put a bit of smile on the face as you walk in. And obviously the game itself, I mean, yeah, it was a 2-1 win. We won against foreign opposition. I don't think we often do well against these sort of sides. Mercy were right up for it early doors, though. Has to be said. Some rough tackles going in. I think it kind of set the tone for the game. But, you know, I think it was just brilliant to be out there, mate. Honestly, I loved it. It was bucket list ticked off firmly. And hopefully it's a regular thing, mate, going forward. Because I'll tell you what, if the club saw the turnout we got from the fans, I mean, I think it was probably close to 1,000 on Friday at that game, mate. It was brilliant.
Yeah, there was about 700, I think, on 701, I think it was on the Wednesday game. Yeah, on the Forest game. And Christ, didn't the Forest fans melt online? They just absolutely had a bad reaction massively. But I thought it was good, to be fair. It was good to see a team go into a pre-season from us where actually we went in with blood, sweat and boil. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, yeah, it's just, like I said, I know I saw some people that had done both games. I can only make the last game. But, yeah, like, the only thing I'll say is hopefully they get more notice next time because I don't think it's a lot this time. If people have got 3-4 months to book it or plan it or, you know, I don't know how much notice you can really give, but if they was able to say in April, we're going in July, I think you get, you know, a lot more numbers out there. And, yeah, Mercia itself, not a lot going on there, to be honest. But it was hot weather. They had bars, €4 a pint. Thank you very much. That'll do.
What was the view like?
It was good, mate. It's like it's a bunch of training pitches at the complex, and then you've got a couple stands around the pitch on either side of the touch lines. So like not behind the goals, and then you've probably got maybe 1,000 seats both sides. Not that high up. It was just like normal kind of temporary stands. I'd say, mate, it was good. Honestly. Thanks to the club for letting us go, and everyone well behaved themselves. So no excuse next year, please. If you want to choose somewhere to go, I mean, I'll probably say next year I'd like to go to Albufeira, go to get a bit of golf in as well at the same time. I can't fucking play golf, love all money, but come on, Millwall, pull your finger out.
I think they're in Portugal, Spain, and somewhere else. I'll find out. So yeah,
I'll take Mexico. If they do Mexico, give us a year's notice. I'll do that and all.
Matt, you fancy a proper away day overseas or?
Yeah, no, I would definitely like to have gone this year. Yeah, more notice would have been nice. But hopefully this is a step in the right direction. I personally, I mean, I'd love to see us go far east. That would be nice. But if they give us plenty of notice, I'm happy with Spain and Portugal, and even the
That would
Scandinavia
be
would be nice. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
know
think
it's kind
also
of
like
Scandinavia. Yeah,
sorry.
Scandinavia would be good, like Norway or somewhere like that. Yeah, that
yeah,
would be quite
I
good.
think we've got our relations as well, haven't we? With like a fan affiliation. I think obviously you got the link with I don't know if Fleming will still be in a year's time, but I'd love to get Fortuna Sittard. I'd imagine like going to a little European tour across like a couple of games or something. But obviously the main benefit was it's for the players to go have their warm weather training. They managed to come inside a couple of games and get fans there. It was brilliant. But yeah, I think it'd just be good to. It was just like it was a nice bucket list. I do the England games because I don't get the chance to go European away days in Millwall because we're not that good. But I think it was a nice cherry on the top. I think for something for me, like as a fan, like to say I've seen Millwall play abroad. I wasn't fortunate enough to go to Ferencváros in 2004, but to be able to go to that made my day really.
Why couldn't you go
Sittard's
there in
not far.
2004? Because how old were you?
I was 9 years old in 2004, mate. And got strictly told I wasn't allowed to go.
Heartbreaking, isn't it? To know, I mean, so yeah.
Yeah, I know, mate.
There was obviously there was something. We're going to a bit of the players now because there was a point that Matt, you wanted to make the other night, but you couldn't get on the other night. So we'll start with you, and then obviously Omer. Well, you weren't on the space the other night when we were talking about players and signings and stuff, and we're coming to that, and we probably can talk about that for another 15 minutes or so, and then we'll look at ending up. So Matt, what were your views and whatnot? Because there might be people that didn't listen to the space or didn't even know we'd done the space. So yeah, kick on with what you wanted to say, fella.
Sure. So yeah, listening back on Sunday, I mean, there was a few people that were concerned about um, the upcoming season and what players we got in the squad and depth, and I see where they're coming from. I think we're light in personnel now as we were at the back end of last season, albeit because obviously the loans have gone back. Um, and now that we're picking up injuries again, which is it must be it must be a training ground thing. There must be the quality of I don't know pitches or the surface or how they train at Calmont Road is how these players are picking up these little niggles and they're out for a foreseeable. I'm worried about our our defence. I still am. Despite having Tanganga in that back line, I'm really worried about sort of like the ageing and predictability of our defence. I think we were very found out a lot prior to Tanganga last year. I thought we were very very predictable at the back. And opposition teams are not stupid. They'll see this and go, well, we know what Millwall are going to do. Lump it up to Cooper, and all we've got to do is sort of like put three men on him, or and we'll pull him down. And I saw it, and nothing's changed. We need an out and out left back. I like Joe Bryan going forward. I like Joe Bryan going in a five, and I mentioned this in historical podcasts about how when we got Joe Bryan, we got him from clubs where their emphasis was attack, 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 attack. Fulham never thought about defending. As I've seen in my experience of going there, and they've had like 80, 85% possession. So he came to a club where the opposite is defend, 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 then we'll try and attack. I don't think he's a left back. I really don't. And then we got Murray Wallace, who again love him to pieces, but shelf life. All players have shelf lives, and I don't think he's up to the championship standard that we got. So then, who do we have? We've got Danny Mack, who can be a makeshift left back, and do you know what? He could do a job. He can do a job, and this he's on his weaker foot. I understand that, but these guys are pros. They can play with both feet. and we could rely on him as a makeshift left back. And then you got Nino Malaki, who has impressed me a lot. Went out to Sutton and pressed Steve Morrison at Sutton, I think. I think he's said high things about him, so maybe he breaks through. And then you've got the other end of the pitch where we got our strike force. Now, I think one of your chaps really laid it into Bradshaw a little bit. I hate to say it, but I can't think he's right. I think Bradshaw, as much as he runs around and he's a good servant to club, he's not your 10. He won't get you 10 goals. One freak season where Fleming came in, and Fleming was an enigma. Nobody knew Fleming. Like, the Championship didn't understand who Fleming was, and I think that helped Bradshaw because that nobody knew how Fleming played. The second season when Fleming was in, they cottoned onto him, and obviously, contrary to belief, he got marked double teamed all the time, and we didn't see the best out of him, thus resulting in Bradshaw not getting the amount of goals. Yes, injuries have hampered him as well, and I think that's time for him to sort of. I think I think he's lucky to be at the club. Let's just put it like that. So who do you rely on? You rely on Nesbitt, Langstaff, unknown, untested at this level. You never know. He might be some kind of finishing article with Langstaff. We don't know, but I think we're now relying on likes of Nesbitt, who I haven't seen him in person yet, so I don't know whether he's beefed up on the pies or he's beefed up in the gym. I don't know, but it's a bit of a mixed reaction on how he is. But I don't know. But I do worry about where we're going to get the goals from. I mean, I'm a big fan of Amaku. Is Amaku a striker? Is he a 10? Is he a winger? I don't know, but he knows where the back of the net is, that's for certain. So, I think we need to. I think Harris has admitted that he's going to look into the loan market, especially with the Premier League teams that are going to announce their. Is it a squad of 25 or 30 players that they're allowed to announce?
And it's this week. Well, yeah, next week.
Yeah, so I think once that's announced, I think that's when we'll start tapping into that market. I mean, love to try and get Norton Cuffy back. I don't know what's happening with him. Could that be a potential? Because he could play on the wing. I don't know. So I worry about us going forward, and I worry about our ageing and predictability back line, which doesn't give me much hope for this season. I'll take 12th, 100% right now. I will take 12th. I'll even take 18th, to be fair. Yeah, I think sustainability is big this season, and I think that's what we've got to aim for.
I agree with you. I think on the Nesbitt thing, I saw him play. I mean, it's only pre-season, but he just didn't look interested at Mercy, the game for me. He got the second half. I think, first half was Bradshaw and Langstaff. Langstaff is then started second half with Nesbitt. The problem I've got with the setup at the moment is we're missing proper width in the wide areas. I think, you have Esse on the right, and Marco on the left, both cutting on their natural foot. So I think it's clearly we're looking at that Femi Aziz that's been the link at Reading. He's a proper winger. I think there needs to be some width in that side, especially to get service to Langstaff up front and Nesbitt if he stays. I think Nesbitt for me, I don't think he looks interested, but I think the club have gone down a rabbit hole here where they're stuck with a financial burden behind them to think, well, if we get rid of this player now, we're going to have to cut our losses and lose out on a lot of money. So it's a tricky one. I mean, where do you think we need to add though when you talk about the front line then, Matt? Like what kind of difference do you think will make the difference for us then?
Well, what's this Lehigh like? I mean, he's spoke highly in the sort of like the under 23s. Is he good enough to be warranting at least a bench position week in, week out on the first team and be that impact 10, 15-minute player?
Good point. Yeah, maybe that. I don't know. I mean, Mickey,
he scored at Mercier. It was not a great goal, but he obviously knows where the goal is. And that's it don't matter how old you are. If you know where the goal is and you put your foot on the ball, it's going in one direction. So, if we have to sort of like make a financial burden with Nesbitt, then yeah, we're going to have to rely on a younger prospect coming through, and could be Tom Leahy's breakthrough season.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think we obviously saw the 21s as well. Well, I saw him at Willstone. I mean, it wasn't really the 21s because obviously Alfie Massey travelled to Portugal, so Leahy. I mean, Adam Malachi did as well. But I mean, we saw Charlie Hearn. We saw, didn't we? Not Charlie Hearn. What's his name? The striker, Henry Hearn. Henry Hearn, isn't it? Yeah. And then we also saw Bangura Williams, the midfielder.
Who was that number 4? The one with the funny hair.
He was a trialist.
He had like ponytails, didn't he?
He was a trialist, I think. Yeah.
But he was good.
He was very good.
He was good.
He was good. I think he was a short lad, wasn't he? I mean, also, Chinacoli didn't travel out to Portugal, which we all was talking about last week, weren't we?
Spain.
I mean, yeah, he didn't. Spain, sorry. But what do we make of that? I mean, do you think Matty's probably going to get a move out on loan somewhere? Or what's going to... It's a shame to not see him out there, but I suppose you've got Tanganga, Cooper, Hutchinson in front of him, Harding as well. I guess the opportunity will be limited for him.
I would think he should go back to Bromley. He cut his loan short because of a quad injury. And now they've gone up to League Two. I think he should try like, because who they got? They got Webster at the back, who, as much as I love Webster, he's going to fail with a 46 league game season plus everything else on him at his age. So I think for Chin to go out on loan would be good to go out to like Bromley or League Two. League One could be an option. You know, we've got links with Lincoln. You know, send him off. So I think there's a loan move for Chin, and potentially Reece Bangura could be another one. I mean, he absolutely scored that brilliant first goal, wasn't it? Yeah, the first goal at Cray, top bins.
That was cracking.
It was a great goal. So, you know, it's good to be in the 23s, and it's nice to see like Nugent play this attacking brand of football. But we need to understand that we need to get these out playing a good level of football. Conference, I wouldn't say National League Prem at the very minimum for some of these players, but the likes of Akoli, who's already been there, he needs to step up into League One, League Two, 100%. I would, and let's see him develop. I mean, he's an absolute unit, definitely.
He's definitely, and he was bossing it. He was bossing it, wasn't he? The other night at Craze, he was bossing it. He was screaming at people. He was telling people to do, give the ball, share the ball, and everything else. Don't be selfish and everything else. So yeah, he's a good prospect. There was a good couple of trialists there, nearly all trialists to be fair. But there was, it's probably the strangest club sheet you've seen, player list you've seen in your life. It was just literally, I think there was 3 players on there and the rest were trialists, and then the subs were
same squad.
Yeah.
And then the rest were trialists. So, it's good, but you can see what Scott Fitzgerald and Robbo and that are doing, can't you? You can see what they're doing. And it's working. They produce some good teams. I mean, 2 seasons ago we won overall. Last season we come second. There's some good players there and going. I mean, that goalie trialist weren't that great, but the second one was a bit better. But again, I don't know. I mean, what was it? I think it was 11 when he was quick. 15 was okay. That number 8 was a bit slow.
You get a mixed bag, don't you? I suppose it's all team trialists, but. Listen, I think talking about who went out to Spain, I was really impressed with Massey when he came on the second half. Looks to play forward a lot, a couple of good balls forward as well for Leahy to chase as well, and Langstaff. I think he's obviously impressed. I think Honeyman said in the press last week that, talking from Spain, that he was really impressed with how he's pushing them on. That's what you want from your youngsters. And I think Harris has echoed that as well. These players are coming in to try and take their opportunity. So, yeah, look, exciting times. I do think we need quality in the wide areas, like Matt said, and something different up top. But look, hopefully some transfers come in sooner rather than later.
Here's a question, chaps. How did you feel that second trialist of Cray, the goalkeeper in the second half at Cray, for Cray? Well, how did you find him? There's an answer. There's a reason.
For us?
No, for Cray.
I don't know. He seemed all right though, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was the under-17s goalkeeper at Leeds in the youth, Albi.
Oh,
so he was on trial for Cray from us. So,
didn't know that.
No, nor did I until I found out on Friday night, because I do goalkeeping coaching camps, and one of the coaches reminded me who it was. I thought, oh yeah, now I recognise it.
But there's a good question there. Now you said that, right? There's a good question for you, right? Do you think that Roberts is going to be the number 1 and Jensen is going to be the number 2 and be learning? Or do you think Jensen is going to be number one and Roberts is going to be number two?
Well, I think based on stats, Jensen will be number one on his clean sheet percentages from last year. I personally don't know them that well, as in I've not seen them play. I don't know what they're like. I'll just go based on their stats from last year. But I think obviously it was such a tragic scene to be looking for two goalkeepers, that's for certain. But from the stats, it seems to me that Jensen will be the starting keeper, with Roberts being the understudy, because I think Roberts was on loan at Barnsley last year, but Jensen was a regular for Lincoln, and I think he's got about 30-40% clean sheet ratio.
Is there a big step up between League Two, League One, and the Championship, or is it pretty much when you're a keeper, it's pretty much it's the same thing across whatever league you're in? The idea of the game is to stop the ball going in the back of the net.
If you asked me that question probably about 5 years ago, I would have said there is a significant difference in stepping up because of the style of football. I.e., you wouldn't have had League Two teams like playing out from the back, for example, 5 years ago. But now that's come into every league now. I mean, I'm not a big fan of these goalkeepers playing it from the back because the name, your job's in your name. You're goalkeeping, you're not an outfield player. So your first priority is to stop that ball going in the back of the net. But I think you'll see younger goalkeepers in League One, League Two learning their trade. I know full well there's a really good goalkeeper at AFC Wimbledon at the moment who's on loan from Palace, Owen Goodman, who he had practically a season at Colchester last year. He's a young lad. He's a Canadian under 23. Very good goalkeeper. Very, very good goalkeeper. But he's going to apply his trade at AFC this season, and they're already saying good things about him. Millwall's very own Tom King went to Newport and Salford, applied his trade and learned to become a better goalkeeper, because you are going to get your physical strikers in front of you to like will elbow you, bite you, kick you whilst you're trying to retrieve the ball. And he's earned his trade so much that now he's at Wolves. Third choice, but he's at a Premier League club, and good luck to him. But I think you'll see what they say. If you're a younger goalkeeper in the lower leagues, that's potential to be for you to step up, and as you get older, because I think goalkeepers' peak age is roughly about 26 to 28 years. That's when you'll see your goalkeeper be at his best. And if you've got one that's under that age, I don't know how old Jensen or Rob. I mean, Roberts is more of the latter age group, isn't he? He's in his 30s, so he's probably past. Maybe he's at his peak now. I don't know about Jensen, but it'll be a make or break for them in there. But no, it's nowadays. I don't think there's much difference in being a goalkeeper.
Jensen's 25.
Yeah, Jensen's 25. Roberts is 20. And Roberts is 29.
So you never know. So this will be. I think this will be the making of him this year. He'll either, hopefully, he'll go down. He'll up his game, and he'll be better goalkeeper. And I was saying, the next couple of years will be I believe I've heard an article that they rave about him in Denmark. They really do. They think he's like the next up and coming Schmeichel because of his size. So
he's 6'5", isn't he?
Yeah. So he's, that helps. Obviously, you're going to get different types of shooting from the higher levels, as in, they'll swerve, they'll move in the air, as opposed to probably a lot of crosses coming in from League One, League Two, not with the head. Quicker attackers, so judgment on through balls is going to be different. So it'll be a learning curve, definitely, and you might be starting off a bit rusty, but I think with a team needs to have a good sort of like coaching staff behind him, and I think Andy Marshall is a good goalkeeping coach, and he will help him. He will help him, and Roberts will help him as well, because he's been there and done that with Borough. So, but back to the original question, is there a step up in goalkeepers? There was a few years ago, but I think now it's more of an even keel. But also, it all depends on the age of the goalkeeper.
Because a lot of scouts now are looking for defenders and midfielders who aren't necessarily that great, and looking to see if they can change them into goalkeepers now, can't they?
Yeah,
they're looking for players what can play. No, they can. You're laughing at me, Omer, but it's true, because what they're doing is they're looking for keepers now what can play with their feet as well as their hands. And I was speaking to someone who does a bit of scouting and stuff, and he said, like, we're being told that if you can spot a defender or a midfielder who doesn't really have it on the field but can play with his feet to a degree, then is there a potential, if they're big enough, is there a potential to train them as a goalkeeper?
Fucking mental. I can see it, but it's just mad the game's gone that way.
Mad.
Fucking mental.
It's mad, and it's really from my perspective. As I said, I've actually coached goalkeepers for near enough 17 years. Through youth, like from the youngsters, and we never teach kids how to play with their feet. I mean, we tell them to move their feet, as in the footwork. But I had one the other day where he says, Dad went to me, he needs to learn to pass a ball out. So I said, well, stick him in with the rest of the other kids then and let him do a passing drill. I'm here to shoot balls at the kid and let him catch it. So it's the Guardiola syndrome. Let's just call it like that. I think that's what everyone wants to do.
I think we might have a challenge here with Matt going further forward, mate. Is that I think the podcast boys need to get over to the community centre one night, mate, or one afternoon, mate, and we'll all go and see which one of us comes out the better one. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I think that could be a quite funny fucking.
Do that.
That could be quite funny, mate. Yeah. Bounce the balls and fucking for you. Do you know what I mean? Omar thinks he's a bit of a baller, mate. Do you know what I mean? But
well, my day. I'm just about 5 stone too heavy now.
So we'll get there. So yeah, but no, I think we'll probably look at that. That could be quite comical, mate. So yeah, we're coming to an end. Matt, have you got anything else you would like to raise or say?
Well, I'm just over the moon. I got my last season ticket today through the post, so I've now got all 4 season tickets through. So a sigh of relief. That's one less email I have to send tomorrow. No, I mean, I'm glad that I see ticket, and that was brought up again on Sunday, where some people didn't have their tickets through, and I just think, well, one person mentioned about a recorded delivery because of the value of these tickets, and I just think sometimes maybe Millwall should just provide an option that says, look, if you want to come and collect it at the ground, come and collect it. If you're uncertain about the postal service, and I really hope nobody's in the postal services listening to this, and I'm sorry, but I can't trust you guys delivering my packages. If you've got a bent post person and they fill that letter and it's got a card in it, you're running a risk.
I don't even think it's out. I don't even trust them to put the fucking letter through the right door, mate. Many times I get wrong letters and everything else, do you know what I mean? And stuff. I'll tell you what would be a nice touch for the club, right? Is that when you buy a season ticket, and don't do it for everyone or whatnot, maybe, look and see what's what, someone who's been a season ticket for 35 years or 30 years or something, or ones where it's the first time they've brought, is just give them a time slot at the den and have a player or have someone there. Do you know what I mean? It don't necessarily need to be a player. It could be, someone there, youth, or even, I don't know, James Berylson or one of the other directors or something, and just give them, you just turn up. You only need a 10-minute slot, don't you? You turn up and they just go, there you go, thank you very much. A little tour or something, do a group of them, give them a little tour, and then give them out their season tickets. And, it's just a nice little touch. Do you know what I mean? And that's
good time with the open training session.
Yeah. Well, whichever, do whatever, give him a voucher to give him something off at the shop or something else and try and invite. I think now it's all about an invest, and we've seen that there are massive changes what have taken place at the Den now. I think Steve Gallen and Mark Fairbrass and James Berylson seem to have been changed. As I said the other day, we've never had an overseas tournament in, 20 years. We've never had shirts out in June. Okay, fair enough. The quality levels might not be there, but fuck me, you can't ask for everything. So, yeah, it's good. So, yeah, fingers crossed and we go on and see where we go. Omar, Final
Thank you.
words, fella. You got another show this weekend, yeah? You got your...
Maybe next week he'll be out though, but yeah, we'll be recording another show this week. So I'm thinking to release it next week. But yeah, there'll be a prediction show out. We're recapping our predictions from last season. Myself, Dan, Stephen, and Ben.
That's definitely a must. That's a must watch because, yeah, it's given us a little bit of edit time, I think. But yeah, there is some corkers from last season.
There is some corkers in there, and then we'll also be looking forward to the new season and doing some more predictions on that as well. So yeah, watch out for that. Probably next week, I reckon, because we've got the Friday Night Lives come up as well, mate, this week. So yeah, I mean,
Friday Night Live this week will be championship predictions mainly. There'll be a lot of involvement also in the description below this video when it comes out on YouTube and on podcast. You will see the link to the Google Sheet so you can do your championship prediction. And also, I think it's going to be over that way. If you look in the corner over there, pretty much now, you will see where Omar's pointing. You will see their video they did before last season. So you can check that out and laugh your ass off before the new one comes out next week for you. So yeah, thanks very much for Matt for joining us tonight. Matt will be coming back with we're doing a show together about his past experience with Millwall and whatnot, and we've got that one coming up shortly. And hopefully Matt will be coming back on, especially now we know when we got the goalkeeper, we'll be getting him to give us some detailed analysis on there. We'll have to get the contracts out because there seems to be plenty of other shows around at the moment, so we need to sign him up on a joint exclusivity with us and Nick. Do you know what I mean? Fruit pastels at the ready. Don't worry, the deal is nearly there. Listen. This is That Millwall Podcast. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, make sure you do follow us and click all the appropriates. Give us a review. You can tell us that Omar beard needs to be shaved or I'm bald, whichever you want to do. Good or bad, doesn't really matter. It all helps the algorithm. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you do subscribe and make sure you leave a comment because we do love to see them. That is it. We're going to finish with the intro, which is now the outro. And we will be back on Friday night, 8 o'clock for Friday Night Live. And see you soon.